moves on its axis and also moves around the sun. So, how do the hours of daylight vary in different places during the year? Let's find out this answer in this post. In this photograph, you can see the different places and their latitudes. In the northern hemisphere, you can see Ponferrada, Oslo, and in the North Pole, you can see Nunavut in the north of Canada. In the Ecuador, you can see Quito, and in the southern hemisphere, you can see Sydney, and in the South Pole, you can see Antarctica. I have also studied the longest and the smallest daylight. These days were when the difference between the longest day and the longest night is the biggest are called solstice, and you can see it in this at the table. The similar length of day and night. These days, when the length of the day and the length of the night is similar, are called equinoxes, and you can see it in this at the table. And finally, daylight in November, and you can see it in this at the table. Let's see these photographs or graphs. In this graph, you can see the different latitudes, the days of the year, the different months, and the different equinoxes and solstices. Each color represents the different hours of the different hours. For example, white represents 24 hours, green represents 12 hours, zero represents red represents 0 hours of daylight. This graph comes from these at the tables and represents summer solstice, winter solstice, vernal equinox, and autumnal equinox. This photo represents the position of the Earth in the June solstice. This photo represents the position of the Earth in December solstice. And these photographs represents the position of the Earth in the different equinoxes, March equinox and September equinox. Let's analyze the results and conclusions. Regarding variations in the length of daytime, in the Ecuador the length of the day is always the same, 12 hours, and you can see in this graph and this graph. During solstice, the changes in the length of daytime is quite obvious, and you can see it in this at the table, in this graph, sorry. However, during equinoxes, the hour of daylight is quite similar, and you can see it in this graph. This photo represents the June solstice. The sun rays hit perpendicular to the Tropic of Cancer, and the North Pole is tilted towards the sun. It is summer solstice in the northern hemisphere and the longest day, and it is winter solstice in the southern hemisphere and the shortest day. The North Pole has 24 hours of daylight, and the South Pole has 0 hours of daylight. In Quito, there are 12 hours of daylight approximately. This photo represents December solstice. The sun rays hit perpendicularly to the Tropic of Capricorn, and the North Pole is still farthest away from the sun. It is winter solstice in the northern hemisphere and the shortest day, and it is summer solstice in the southern hemisphere and the longest day. The North Pole has 0 hours of daylight, and the South Pole has 24 hours of daylight. In Quito, the Ecuador, there are 12 hours approximately of daylight. These photos represent the different equinoxes. The sun rays hit perpendicularly to the Ecuador. March equinox is the spring or vernal equinox in the northern hemisphere, and it is autumnal or fall equinox in the southern hemisphere. September equinox. It is fall or autumnal equinox in Oslo, Ponferrada, northern hemisphere, and it is a spring or vernal equinox in the southern hemisphere. And finally, November. It is autumn in the northern hemisphere, and it is spring in the southern hemisphere. In the North Pole has no light, and in the South Pole has 24 hours of daylight. In Quito, it has 12 hours of daylight approximately. And finally, to conclude these additional conclusions, first, the length of days depends on latitudes, parallels, and the time depends on longitude, meridians. Solstice equinoxes and seasons are opposite in both hemispheres. Temperature doesn't depend on the length of days. The temperature depends on the darkness of the sun rays. For example, in the North Pole there are 24 hours of daylight, and it is frozen. And in the Ecuador there are 12 hours of daylight, and